We're here on the actually unit number 47 of the Tillery Resettlement Farms that was established under President Roosevelt's New Deal, an opportunity for sharecroppers to be able to purchase homesteads. The interesting thing about the Tillery Resettlement Farm was that it was going to be, and it's the only one that we have found, that there was going to actually be a experiment with black and white, blacks on one side and whites on the others. The whites were being settled here on this side on the banks of the Roanoke River until one morning someone realized that they were in the floodplains of the river, and the river did have a tendency to flood. The Native Americans who had settled along this area prior to the colonies coming called the Roanoke the River of Death. So the government purchased another 8,000 acres and moved the white settlers 15 miles west. In the 1950s, the Kerr Dam was put on the river, and that does the controlling of it, so we've had no flooding since that time. And so we've gone from floodplain land to actually riverfront property, and we find it quite different to speak of riverfront property versus being in the floodplain. I'm the director of the community organization, the Concerned Citizens of Tillery, who had been doing some work with the North Carolina Conservation Fund, where Mickey Sager is the director. And she's the one who actually invited me to a meeting of folk who lived along the Roanoke. One of the groups that had come out of this original organizing was the Roanoke River Partners, and they have established several camping sites along the Roanoke River. They had never done a campsite in relationship to private landowners and the nonprofit organization, the Roanoke River Partners. And so we were approached by that, and my family decided that that would be a good idea. And so we leased them an acre of land here. We are told by campers who come and who canoe the river and who kayak along the river that this is the best site. One is the fact that the campsite is actually up off the river. There are also, you can see platforms that no matter how high the water is, that you still have access to be able to get to the campsite.
Roanoke River Partners, the leaders that came together to form this nonprofit, decided that the major role and the major focus of this group was relative to fostering rural economic development. We do charge a small fee for people to stay on the 15 camping platforms that we have along the river. But really our goal is to bring folks through our river community so that they have an opportunity to get to see them up close, to see what's going on there, to find a lot of really neat activities, festivals, events they might come back for, as well as maybe just stumble across. And also in doing so, they will spend money to buy, they'll eat in restaurants, they'll buy some things to take out on their boats, they'll buy some camping supplies, some sunscreen, some gas and ice, and all of those revenues are really important for the economic development of our rural river communities.
Right now we're at the 258 access area along the Roanoke River near Scotland Neck. Today it's opening day of turkey season, April 13th, and we've been working turkey hunting all day since early this morning, worked different types of violations, individuals hunting turkey over bait, which is unlawful, and just going around checking hunters for turkeys and their tags and their license. And now this is a little bit later on in the afternoon, we're going to come down here and get on the Roanoke River and see if we can check some fishing because of the striper run that normally runs up the river this time of year. A lot of people just flock to this area, the 258 access area, or the Weldon boat ramp up a little bit further north, and it's a tremendous amount of folks that come down here to try to catch the rockfish, and it's a great place, and a lot of not only the stripers but also hickory shad come up here in great numbers. They're really fun to catch, so it's a tremendous resource for the public.
I've been fishing this river here over 30 years. And every chance I get, I always come to the river, me and my wife. We fish, I guess, about twice a week if we can. And we just love coming down, and we don't have no special spot. We just come here and bait up and throw out and going on and do the best we can and hope that we catch one. If we catch one, we catch one. If we don't, we don't. It's just fun coming down here. And I really enjoyed it. And we enjoyed coming. Even though if we don't catch anything, we just like to come down here. And I have had a lot of luck in the past with the striped bass. Caught a plenty of those, and white perch, we catch those. I don't catch too many shad. So I always love fishing and hunting. So I'm just an outdoor man. I used to rabbit hunt. Now you don't have nowhere to hunt. All the hunt clubs got all the land. And if you don't know somebody got some land, you don't hunt. So that's the way it is. I got a cousin, he got land, and he let me hunt his land. And a friend of mine, that's the only way you get to hunt now. Them big time hunt club, them bought out. Do a lot of deer hunting. I went to turkey hunt one time, and the mosquito was so bad I wouldn't go back. So I haven't did none of that.
Turkeys come off the roost first thing in the morning, time it gets light good. And then they might come back out and feed again midday. They're a very funny bird, very sharp-eyed bird. So when we hunt in a blind like this right here, and we got a little sudden movement, it ain't picked up by the bird. Unlike if we were sitting beside the tree and we had full body camo, you can't move, you got like life light there. What these are turkey decoys. The hen has a grayish head. It's always noticeable. And this is a young Jake, which soon to be a turkey. He'll have the red on his neck, but he won't quite have his beard coming out yet. And I always sit here probably maybe 30, 45 minutes before I ever make one call. And this right here particular device right here is a box turkey call. You got slate calls you can put in your mouth. You got little scratches with your tooth. I particularly like this one right here. I always put my decoys out and give myself 10 more yards on the other side of the decoy. So when I know that that turkey is done walked within 10 yards of that turkey, I got a good 30-yard shot, and I'm gonna pull down on him. Along this Roanoke River, turkeys are plentiful, very, very plentiful. Anywhere on the Roanoke River that you just about wanted to go, you find turkeys. They've got an area where they know they got the grub worms because it's always moist and damp down in there. They can scratch and dig. When they've had their fill of that, they'll make their way to the opening, to the fields, and find what they find. And hopefully for my decoys right here will work out for me. And this beautiful weather will hold up. These turkeys will come back across this afternoon, and hopefully we'll be able to get a shot.
The life, the culture that's here around the farms and the forestry and the wildlife, it's a great life, and I want my grandchildren and their children to get to experience some of that. So The position I take now and the activities I engage in are to help people have a better understanding of our river, appreciation for it, and hopefully that will cultivate people who will be standing ready to protect it.
The one thing that the resettlement era taught was land ownership, that land is valuable. And once you get rid of it, you don't get it anymore. We're not making any more land on Earth, so you better hold on to what you have, even though you might be a little bit poor and struggling. Right here where we are, a 15-year-old young man drowned back in the 1950s who was down here fishing. He suffered epileptic seizures, and he was with a group of people, but he fell into the river. And the current is so swift that they tried to reach him with fishing poles, but no one would go into the water after him. And he was in the river for over 2 weeks, and he was found 15 miles downstream from us. But it brings life because, I mean, just being out here is being able to come, listen at the quietness, listen to the birds chirping, solitude. Plus, the land here is good for farming because where the river is, when the rains come, rain comes close to the river, so we don't have to irrigate the farmland or anything like that. It is very much a river of life as well as a river of death.